right, Ricky, can you hear us?
Gotcha.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending some time with us. To maximize the time we have, we're going to go straight to questions, and to kick us off, we're going to start with Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Ricky, the next gen unveiled today. I'm curious if you have any sense of how this car will drive differently than the current car.
Man, I've actually got no clue. I haven't driven it. I haven't even gone to seen it. So I know they keep making changes to it. I feel like every time they drive it, and I've heard a little bit of feedback from some of the other guys on, some steering issues and things that they were kind of running through, especially at the road course. I felt like I'd heard a few things. So, for us and everyone at JTG, we're really focused on, this car that we have right now and finishing out the season, but also, got to be looking ahead to, what's to come with the new car and the unveil. I'm excited as anyone else to see it because I haven't seen it. So as far as all the character lines and, each manufacturer, what they're going to look like. So, it's a big day for our sport for sure.
Obviously, part of the idea of this car is that, everybody's buying their chassis from the same people, their bodies from the same people. I mean, do you have any sense of whether you feel like this will increase parity, or do you feel like the teams with the most depth and the most money will still prevail?
Yeah, I think it can close it up at times, but I think in the end, in the long run, the teams that, still spend the most and use the most resources are going to find ways to, make their car perform better than everybody else's. So I think you'll still get to that point. But, I think down the road, I don't know. I feel like what we're seeing right now with no changes from year to year, I think you're seeing a lot of parity in our sport, this year versus last year. Not a ton of changes going on. So who knows with this new car, if they keep everything pretty consistent, year after year, then maybe everybody gets really, really close.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Luis Torres. Go ahead, Luis.
Thank you, Amanda. Of course, with Darlington coming up, it's been a track that kind of been mixed for your results wise. I'm curious to know how it's been for you, especially now going into that event, trying to get the season turned around after two rough results.
Yeah, it's Darlington's kind of been a frustrating racetrack. It's really fun. I think every driver enjoys it. On the Xfinity side, I felt like we were pretty good for a couple races, and then on the Cup side, we've been decent, a couple races, but overall, it hasn't been a great track for us. Obviously last year, the first race was a disaster. The second race was kind of a disaster with, some mechanical issues that we had going on that we really couldn't overcome. And, switching to the low downforce package for this race, looking back at some of the race notes that we have, I think 2018, we had this package. We finished, I think, 12th. And had a good run. So looking back at kind of those notes and making sure that, we're looking at the right things, going into this weekend. But definitely been a tough 2 weeks for us. We got off to a strong start. Looking forward to, have an opportunity to get that momentum back going in the right direction for us this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. Ricky, thanks for your time today, man. Hope you're doing well. You just talked about it with Lewis there, 750 horsepower, low downforce for this weekend. How much does that increase the racing skill amongst these drivers this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the car's going to slide around a lot. You're going to have a lot of power. I think you're going to see cars slide a lot, especially off of turn two. Turn two is always tricky, but with, more horsepower and less downforce, definitely going to be on edge. But I think that's what that's what we want. That's what we like to see. And I think it's going to create good racing. I think you're going to have cars that'll be, really good on the short run. And then obviously some that'll be really good on the long run. And it'll be fun to kind of see how that plays out along with different, lines, especially in 3 and 4. Some can, run the bottom the whole time, and, others, got to get up on the fence. So that'll be interesting to see. And then obviously it being a day race, is another factor that I think, really creates for a good show, and excited to get there. And, last year I didn't get to race the day show. Didn't have had the opportunity, just didn't execute to go run a lot of laps. So for me, it's something that I'm looking forward to.
Talking about the slipping and sliding, it's supposed to be hot in Darlington this weekend, which means the increased track temp and a slick racetrack. Do you see that old school Darlington coming this Sunday? I asked Kurt Busch brought it up in his media availability, and he said the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I never ran the old Darlington, I guess you could say, when it was really, really rough. It's getting that character back, especially, off of turn 2 with the bumps. And I didn't get to really run it, the whole race during the day last year. So, I definitely think that, kind of that old school Darlington feel, high horsepower, low downforce will definitely be in play. And I think it's going to be exciting.
Thank you, Ricky. Good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Tucker White. Go ahead, Tucker.
Ricky, topic of conversation this past weekend at Texas Motor Speedway with the IndyCar community was the use of PJ1. Graham Rahal himself said that the PJ1 was like walking on ice and just slippery as hell or something like that. Now, compared to your experiences with however long we've been using it at Texas Motor Speedway, how does it differ from what they've said was going on at Texas this past weekend?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know exactly. Obviously, we run different tires than they do. We creep up into it. We don't, go right into it, but it takes a minute for us to kind of run that lane in throughout the race and throughout the weekend. So, for us, the beginning of the race, you don't really want to get in it, but by the end of the race, if you're not in it, you're not going to be fast enough. So it's kind of a weird, kind of circumstance on how we end up in it. We creep into it right sides only, a little bit here and there. And then, by the end of the race, you're 4 tires in it. So I don't know if their tires just and everything that they have, just doesn't correlate with it. But it is slick to start for sure. And, with them running wide open around the bottom, it'd be kind of treacherous and tricky to get up in it, running that fast.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Ashley McCubbin. Go ahead, Ashley. Ashley, can you hear us?
Oh, hello?
There you go.
Okay, sorry, I had it muted there for a moment. Ricky, thanks for your time. We're racing this weekend on Mother's Day weekend. What influence did your mother have on your career?
My mom's always kind of been that, that steady base and foundation for our family. She kept us fed. Me and Dad would work in the shop for hours and hours, and Mom would, bring us food. And when we'd head out to the racetrack, she would, pack us food and make sure that we were taken care of. My mom's a nurse, so with everything that I did, riding dirt bikes and playing all kinds of sports, she always took care of me. So, and she still does. And, it's always, really nice to still have my family come out to the races. And, this year we've been doing a lot more dirt racing, which, my family's allowed to come to, which is nice. And, so she's been coming to those races with us, but, she's the one that always, kind of held us together. And then, we'd race Saturday nights, and she'd be the one to make sure that we got up for church the next morning. So on Sundays, and, so hopefully we can have a good run, on Mother's Day weekend here, and make her proud.
And without qualifying on track each weekend, we're using the qualifying matrix to set the field. What are your thoughts on the format that the series has gone with, and would you like to see it changed in any way?
And I like qualifying, but, I think, you have to come up with something that makes sense for everybody. And, having 2 rough weeks in a row. You start further back than what you feel like you normally would qualify, or what have those situations come up. But it's the same for everybody. And when you run consistent, run good, and you're decent in points, then you have a better starting position. So we got to get back on that this weekend, have a good weekend, and get a good starting spot at Dover, and just kind of build that back up. But I think NASCAR's done a great job with coming up with a format that kind of utilizes everything throughout the race to come up with the lineup.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Pete Acabelli. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Ricky, you mentioned your family coming to some dirt racing this year. There'll be a few more people at Darlington, maybe even a few in the pits walking around. Is that a good sign that NASCAR is kind of taking another step back from the pandemic?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it was up to me, I would open it all up, but it's not up to me. So no, NASCAR is doing what they feel like they should do, and taking small steps instead of big ones. But it's been nice that we never had to really we shut down obviously when everybody else did, but we still got our full season in, and then we've been on schedule all of this year. So I think that's a testament to the work that NASCAR's put in, and each week I feel like they're doing something different, getting a step further ahead. And I'm hopeful with some of the other racetracks announcing that they'll be 100%. When we get there, that's encouraging. I think a lot of our fans are pumped up about that, and you never want to say something like last year was a good thing, but I think it could have a good turnout for us on when we do finally get fully back open. I think a lot of fans took for granted being able to go to the racetrack, and I'm sure all of us took a lot of things for granted. What we got to do each and every day in our lives, and when you get that taken away from you, I feel like now people are going to appreciate things more, and take full advantage of being able to go to sporting events and concerts, and hopefully they enjoy coming to our sport, and pack the grandstands.
And Ricky, you mentioned your performances at Darlington earlier. What do you think about the sport coming to Darlington twice a year now going forward?
Well, it's an iconic racetrack. It's one that us drivers, it's like going to Atlanta twice. We love Atlanta. We feel like it's a great racetrack, and then obviously the history that Darlington has, and everybody wants to win the Southern 500, but we would take this one as well. So it's a driver's racetrack. It's fun. It's tough. It's challenging, and puts on good racing. I think you'll see, with going to the 750 package, I think was a great move. And, I think it's going to make the racing really, really good. And we're going to slide around. We're going to have our hands full, and should be good.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go back to Bob Hawkers for one follow-up question. Go ahead, Bob, with your question.
Yeah, Ricky, you were just talking about it, but I'm curious if you can elaborate more on how you feel the 750 package will race differently at Darlington than the 550.
Yeah, I believe that, having more horsepower, being able to come up out of the corner, even utilizes the bottom of 3 and 4 even more than what it already was utilized. So I feel like there's, maybe some more options there. But also at the same time, we're going to be wearing our tires out more because of the lower downforce and more horsepower. So you're going to have to use brakes. You're going to have to slow down for the corner. Like turn 1, you could almost go through there wide open with our downforce package that we had last year. There was people probably able to do that, and now you won't be able to. And so now you'll be lifting, you'll be slowing the car down, and when you do that, I feel like it creates more passing opportunities throughout the race. So I think, I don't see it being bad anywhere.
And have you studied last year's race, or are you studying 2018 because of the change?
Yeah, I'm looking at the downforce packages of, I think, 17, 18, maybe 19. Looking at those races, last year. I definitely won't want to take anything that I did last year from Darlington, but all in all, yeah, looking more at kind of the races that we ran good. I feel like was like 2018.
All right. Well, Ricky, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we wish you best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.